I'm Greg Olson, Director of the sewn program for the Southeast region. And this is another in our manufacturing series of talks with business leaders about topics that are relevant to each of the business owners day to day. This morning, I'm joined by Harry Schumacher, and Harry's going to be talking about a couple of significant topics that have affected him and his business. So first, good morning, Harry.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. And Harry, if you could, I'd like to start out today talking about technology. You have been facing this technology dilemma for a long time. And if you could kind of start out with a little bit about what your business is and how it looks, and then we'll get into the technology piece. So if you could start out with your Schumacher Precision Manufacturing.
Well, technology is definitely an asset of moving forward. The bottom line you got to look at is new technology. If you're going to make a new purchase, how soon are you going to get your payback on what you invest? And that's in any piece of equipment that you buy. You know, before, when we were just slam busy, it was, we need that piece of equipment, just bought it and kept things rolling. Now we're heading into an area where technology is doing a lot of different axes. So in machining, in the fabrication department, you're getting several different pieces of equipment that are very automated. So it's a challenge because these pieces of equipment are very handy to have, but they also are very costly. So you definitely have to look at your return on investment when you do something like this.
How do you look at, I mean, what kind of tools do you use to look at what kind of equipment you're going to add or what you're going to do with it?
Well, first we have to look at the type of business that, you know, we're doing now. Right now at this specific time, we're not overwhelmed with work, and what we have, we've been able to keep up with our production work. We're working more in the software and trying to get things where the employees are logging in on everything now, and which we had talked about previously. And software for machine, we bought a laser cutting machine last year, and we're using that software to estimate with. So we're working in that direction as of right now. We're actually I'm feeling we're pretty organized with the amount of work that we have coming through. So, you know, I feel good about our team. So,
Harry, talk a little bit about that marriage of software and machines and people. I mean, there's kind of a little triangle there that you've got to coordinate, and how does software upgrades play in all that?
Well, the software, obviously, if it's information in, information out, it's pretty simple with computers. You put accurate information in, you get accurate information out. If you don't use all the bells and whistles, then you don't get all the, you know, the information you're looking for. So everybody has to do their job of entering things properly, and you'll get your correct answers you're looking for. I'm a firm believer in the dashboard system. I think that's worked out well with one of our softwares. I'm using it more and more. It gives me a quick look at what's going on.
When you say the dashboard, can you explain a little bit about what that is and how you use it?
Well, the dashboard basically gives me the information if I want to see how our sales look, as far as what we booked, you know, how each person is estimating and how their numbers look from year previous till now. You know, I see, you know, where our business is going in certain situations. If it's more machining, more fabrication, more combination work, it's a good indicator of where we're at and what we're doing. As far as the guys logging in and out, I can see the efficiency better. And also the amount of sales that we have coming in the door. That's big to me. Obviously, you want to see your future sales, what you have.
Can you talk a little bit about from the marketing aspect of that, Harry? Is it helpful with that for you? And, you know, how do you see technology marketing moving forward?
Well, we just rebuilt our website, so we're excited about that and trying to utilize that more than what we've had in the past. I think websites, there's some companies going to digital marketing. I still think, you know, boots on the ground, they call it, when people go out and see customers. Now that we're able to go see customers, I think that's still one of your better ways. You're face to face with somebody and you build a comfort zone. But I see Zoom calls now are becoming so popular as well. So I think you need all your tools.
So if and let's talk a little bit about digital marketing. When you talk about Zoom, are you able to use Zoom to reach customers, to market to new customers?
I'm trying some work on LinkedIn, and I'm trying some work with our new website. So I'm seeing some things that, hey, I got some hits here, but other things not so much. But I'm also a rookie at doing this, so you know, I just started out trying to play with it a little bit.
Is catch up challenging, Harry?
Yeah.
I
Yes,
hear you.
it is. It's challenging at times because you know, you go from old school to new school, and obviously you need somebody to help you out with the new school. And I struggle at times with that. It's you know, it's challenging.
How does your organization view digital technology, and are they able to use it?
Yeah, I think the younger generation grasps it faster and are more interested in it than the older generation. The older generation obviously is, you know, they're used to working with their hands, visual, that type of thing. Digital is so much faster, and you get your message across faster. Like I say, we're in a situation, we don't do high volume. Most of our work is low to medium volumes. And so therefore, the higher tech machines, I can't see that fitting into our mold business, software wise. ERP systems, you know, sales systems, that type of thing. I think that works for us. We just have to incorporate it.
Is when you're training people, are you able to use digital technology to help train?
At times, it seems like, you know, you YouTube things sometimes when you want to learn something quick, and sometimes a good YouTube just puts you right where you would need to be. Other times you need to get the company that supplied you with the software to go through it with you till you finally understand it. And obviously it's the old story. You got to work with something for a while, find the problems you have, go back, go over your problems, and then it clicks a little better. So it's a lot of trial and error on my end, from what I see.
When you say the younger generation, are they able to teach the older generation? Does that work going that way at all?
I don't see too much of that. We're getting more younger generation in, but they seem to just pick things up faster when it's digital than the older generation.
Right.
And they're more apt to adapt to that than the older generation.
When we've talked before about Industry 4.0, do you see any of the big data, all those kind of things that are Industry 4.0 in your business and any time in the near future?
When you say big data, explain yourself there.
I mean, it's the cloud-based driven systems. I'm thinking about this machine-to-machine communication, having your supply chain, you know, communicate electronically.
I don't know how much of that would help us at this time. We're kind of tweener. We're not quite there, and yet I can see it in the future. I think you need to kind of lean that way, but it really depends on the type of business you're in and how much volume you got going through. The more volume you have, obviously all that stuff makes a lot more sense than if you're doing, you know, 10 of this, 15 of that, 50 of that. You know, you're setting a lot of our work is setting up and tearing down.
Okay. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, you are second generation business owner, and looking to transition to the next generation and are in the process of doing that. Can you talk a little bit about that succession process and how you view it?
Well, we are working towards that, no question about it. We've taken some steps last year and did an evaluation of the business to see, how we can go about this. It makes sense for the younger generation. It makes sense for myself and my wife. So yeah, we started that process. You have to basically let the younger generation start running more parts of the business to see how things flow. We're still in a situation where, you got to let them do their part and see how they handle it and move, because doing the jobs that they do in the business, moving forward and running a business is two different things. So managing is a big part of it, and you have to see the overall picture and keep the numbers rolling. So I'm helping out as much as I can at this point.
Now, can you talk a little bit about, how you started out and what the business looked like then and what it looks like now? And
it was a lot different. It was my father had a self-employed business. He was a welder, and I worked at a machine shop for 10 years and served my apprenticeship. And by his coaching, at a young age, he told me to go machining. He said, between machining and welding, you can do a lot of different things. And so I took my machine shop background and brought it to this business, as well as the welding fabrication of my father. And I learned more on both. And it was a step-by-step process. You hire your first employee, and then next thing you know, you got a couple more. And, then you're looking at, man, I got to clone myself. I got to get somebody who can do what I can do. And you just keep going step by step. And it's been a long run, but, it was a step-by-step process. So.
now, the world that you live in now, I mean, here it's like, how much does the training you went through, how do you view people doing that same path? Or is it going to be a different world now that automation has entered it?
I think it's a much different world than when I entered into it, because of technology. There's so many different ways you can attack things. It depends on where the business goes from here. If we stay on low to medium volume, then it's more of a personal touch, because I don't know that, and they're getting there. The robots and cobots are going to help in a short run situation where you're constantly setting up. I don't see that happening as much. The multi-axis machines, you can look at a part and say, okay, I can do this in a 7 or 12 axis machine from start to finish, and then put it in inspection. Well, how many hours does it take you to set up? Can I do that in a two axis machines in a lot less time and put it in there for inspection? So it's a challenge. If, like I said, if you're higher volume, in my eyes, it makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't matter. All the manual machines are all going to either digital or some type of CNC combination. So the younger generation looks at it that way. The old craftsmen, where you used to machine things on a Bridgeport and an engine lathe and then go over and tool grind it, those days are gone. It's definitely going into a higher technology.
It almost appears, Harry, that the critical skill needed coming in is not the hands skill, it's the digital technology skill.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you're looking for new people, has that changed your perspective of bringing people in?
I look at the position we're hiring for and what they have as a background to see if it's going to fit what we do. Sometimes we're not looking for anything, and we want to take somebody and mold them to what we do. It all depends on the position we're looking for. Take, for instance, right now we have a manual machinist that does a lot of our onesie twosie type work, close tolerance, maintenance, repair type stuff. And so those guys don't walk down the street very often anymore. So therefore you have to pay to get that craftsman. But you still need, in our business, we still need one of those guys with a young guy coming up from behind him. I don't know where it'll go from there, but eventually, you know, that craft may go away. I don't know, because everything's getting so computerized. Who knows? A robot might be the craftsman of the future. I don't know.
Well, you know, and Harry, that's the kind of thing it is, you know, the adapting. Manufacturing, and both you and I have been in this thing for a long time, and we know that manufacturers, if nothing else, are good at adapting and being sometimes very cautious and sometimes maybe too cautious, but generally speaking, getting into it in a very methodical way and adjusting. So I think, to your point, that that adaptation is going to have to be challenged even more with the new technology. Now, Harry, if you could, and I would like to, before we get off the part, any recommendations to somebody in your situation looking at transitioning their business to the next generation? Any suggestions for them about things you've learned to do, not to do, et cetera?
Well, I think you need to get your business evaluated. We actually went through our accounting firm that they were set up to do it. So we went through our accounting firm and gave us a value of the business, what they felt, you know, looking at our past history and you know, where we are today and, you know, where we possibly could go in the future. But they have to work off your history. So that's how they're going to give you a valuation. I think you have to start there. And then you have to talk to your people that, you know, to make sure that they're all in, because in our situation, we got a valuation if we didn't move forward with giving it to the next, or working with the next generation, or working with them. So we had two numbers come across. So, I mean, you want to make sure that they're all in, and you know, propose to them that these are the things that possibly are going to happen. And everybody's scenario is different. You know, it's the building, the business. How much is an owner going to just wipe his hands of it and walk away and say it's yours? So everybody's scenario is different. You have to look at that.
All right. And also, is there any suggestions you have for someone who is in a business such as yours, small volume, a lot of onesie twosie kinds of things, and how should they look at technology for the future? And, you know, how do you look at it? How would you recommend that they look at it?
Well, it's you have to want to work a lot of hours. That's my train of thought. Some people can figure it out without working a lot of hours. I haven't seen that. I mean, obviously you got to get your name out there. You got to, you know, be competitive. Probably in the beginning, you got to beat most everybody out on price. And then as time goes on, you start to figure it out. But the bottom line is you got to make money at the end of the day. And what's important to you, you know, I've seen people where they block everything out in their life and that's all they do is work. And I've seen people that said, you know what, I have my business and I have my family, and you know, between the two, I'm going to spend as much as I can in my business, but I also have my family. So everybody's a little different. I've seen companies run several different ways. Obviously, the ones that dedicate themselves all to their business are usually pretty successful because they put everything they have into it. But you have to learn how to manage, and not everybody's a good manager. You have to be able to be a leader so people follow what you're trying to do. You know, and not everybody's a leader. You know, they can work, but they're not a leader of people. So, you know, sometimes you see companies just stay a 2 or 3 man shop, and that's why. And you have to, if you have a vision that you want to go to the next level and the following level, that's the other thing, you know, and the people have to see your vision.
Harry, thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate the insights and very, very good insights on a number of issues that we were able to cover. And I hope you and your organization continue to be extremely successful going forward.
Thank you.